Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Just read that hadith again. It was a very interesting hadith we're going to do today. We read this hadith yesterday. We're going to read it again today. Okay, it's a very interesting hadith this year. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وعن إمران بن حسين narrating the authority of Imran ibn Hussein radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. One Ustad just sent me this, by the way, Mawla Abbas Sarigat. He sent a message to say that Imran ibn Hussein, for 30 years he was ill, for 30 years he was sick, and not once he ever complained in his life. For 30 years. وعن إمران ibn Hussein قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم خير أمتي قرني. The best of this ummah is my epoch and my era. ثم الذين يلونهم, then those who come after them. ثم الذين يلونهم, then those who come after them. Now follow nicely. So 3 generations down the line. ثم إن بعدهم, after them there will be قوم, such a people. Yes, قوم يشهدون, they will want to go give witnessing out of their own. ولا يستشهدون, the witness, they will not be sought to give witness, or their witnessing will not be accepted because they won't be people of essence. وَيَخُونُونَ, they will deceive. وَلَا, will not be trusted. Right? وَيَنْظُرُونَ, they will warn. وَلَا يَفُونَ, وَفَا يَفِي, يَفِي يَفِيانِ وَيَفُونَ, they will not fulfill. Right? وَيَظْهَرُ فِيهِمُ السَّمَنُ, literally it translates as obesity will become prevalent amongst them. وفي رواية, and in another riwayat, يحلفون, they will want to give oaths. ولا يستحلفون, their oaths will not be accepted, or they will not be called to give the oath. متفق عليه رواية, there's a متفق عليه رواية. وفي رواية لمسلم, in a riwayat of Muslim Shareef, عن أبي هريرة, narrating authority of Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. He said, right, قوم يحبون السمانة, people who love obesity. So before going into the depths or probing into the hadith, in a simple what the hadith is saying, just before going into the technical discussion, going into what it's saying is that, look here, that the era closest to Nubuwwat will be the best era. That's simple what he's saying. Because obviously, people who got the company of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they will be the best of people. Then, as you progress further away from Nubuwwat, there will be a degeneration in the quality. There will be a degeneration in the quality of the people. That's simple. Simple, that's what it's meaning, right? So until you come to, you can say, the 4th generation, where they will not be as good as the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd generation, right? So that is a simple, basic level. Let's look at the more technical discussions here. Nabi Sallallahu said, خير أمتي قرني. The best of my ummah is my epoch, my era. So what exactly does qarni means, right? Literally, it translates as my time, right, etc. In my so qarni means my time, right? But what exactly? How many years? How many months? How many decades is a qarn? Some ulama say qarn means 40 years. Some ulama say qarn means 80 years. Some ulama say qarn means 100 years. But this is the best explanation. When Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that the best epoch and era is the epoch of my era, when does the era of Nabi Sallam stop? When does it end? When will we say that this is the first Quran? That's what I'm saying, right? So as I said, some ulama say don't fix it at 40 years, don't fix it at 80 years, but do this here. When see, follow this. This is actually interesting explanation. We'll say the Quran of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is when the last Sahabi passed away. And we know who was the last Sahabi? Anas radiallahu ta'ala. Isn't it? Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam made dua for him, for barakah in his umar, etc., etc. So we'll say the first Quran, which Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is speaking about, is when the last Sahabi passed away. And the last Sahabi, if I remember correctly, which I said was Anas, passed away in 120 Hijri. Passed away in 120 Hijri. So we'll say the first Quran was ended with the 120 Hijri. Then, right, I told 120. The second Quran, which we say will be the Tabi'een, we say it starts at 120 Hijri and it finishes at 170 Hijri. So that means that's the last Tabi' that passed away. And then the third Quran is when the last Taba'ut Tabi'een, those people who've seen the Tabi'een, right? And the last Taba'ut Tabi'een passed away in 220 Hijri. So you understood that? So we say the first Quran is 120 Hijri. The second Quran ended in 170 Hijri. And the third Quran finished in 220 Hijri. So this seemed to be the preferred and best explanation of خير القرون قرني ثم الذين يلونهم ثم الذين يلونهم ثم الذين يلونهم. Then the hadith speaks about after that there will be a degeneration. Yes, there will be individuals that will be pious still, because look, the hadith said, remember the hadith said, لا يظهر لا يزال طائفة من أمتي يظهرون على الحق. So there will be pious ulama, there will be pious sulaha, etc., etc., etc. But generally, as we go closer to Qiyamah, there will be a degeneration. Isn't there a hadith that says like this here, that at one point in time, honesty was the norm. Honesty was the norm. You know, you say that, hey, be careful of that guy there. He's a scallum, he's a crook, right? Be careful of him. You have to point out who the crook is. You have to point out who the crook is. But the hadith says, Qiyamah time will come, or the time will come close Qiyamah, when everybody will be a crook. Everybody will be a scallum. But you say, hey, that guy there, he's an honest person. Go to him. You want to buy a car? You want to buy a car? You want to jewelry? You want to buy jewelry? Or you go to that guy there. He's an honest guy. He's not going to crook you. He's what? He give you a fair deal. So you see how the thing changed. Initially, you had to point out who was the crook. Initially, you had to point out who was the crook. But with the passage of time and the degeneration um, amongst people, a time will come out, you will point out who's the honest people. So the norm will be everybody will be crooks and the exception will be. So that is what the hadith is saying. As we go further and further and further away from Qiyamah, there will be this degeneration in the morals of people. Right? So this qawmun yashhaduna wa la yustashhadun. So here what it means here is they will want to give witnessing without being called. If one of somebody is a uprighteous person, people call him as a witness. I want you to witness this here. I want you to witness this thing. Here, people that are not honest, they out of their own, they want to go forward and give witnessing. Now, There's another hadith that speaks about the virtue of giving witnessing, like giving testimony, etc., etc., being a witness to something. And if you look at this hadith here outwardly, it suggests that you shouldn't be forward out of your own to go ahead and want to witness something, to be a witness. But here, right, this hadith you say you shouldn't do that. And there's another hadith that said that there's virtue for giving, witnessing, etc., etc., like in good things. So outwardly, it seems to be a bit of a contradiction. So the simple answer here is those hadiths that speak about the virtue of giving witness. When somebody's right is being trampled upon, you can see maybe an innocent person is being accused of something he did not do, right? Or an innocent person, his right is being usurped. An innocent person, his rights is being trampled upon, etc., etc. Then to go ahead and out of your own and to witness in that person's favor in an Islamic country you're speaking about, or maybe that's like in a micro context, maybe even here in Madrasa, maybe somebody's being accused of something, somebody is being accused of breaking something, somebody is being accused of stealing something, and you know for a fact that this person here is innocent of this here. He never do that, right? And everybody's accusing him, and you go to establish the haqq, you want to set the record straight, you want to protect this innocent person, then that is the witnessing which is laudable. It is praiseworthy in Sharia. You understand what I'm saying? So that is not the one which the hadith or the sunnah speak out against, right? And then obviously the witnessing of what we're saying here, which is it is madhmoom. Madhmoom means it is um, of laudable. It is what you say praiseworthy. It is what's the English word opposite of praiseworthy. It is criticized in Sharia. Is where you want to go give false witnessing. You don't even know what happened. You don't even know what happened. You don't know the facts. You don't know the figures. But you want to go up ahead and speak like how they say in English in Afrikaans. They say voor op die wa, voor op die wa. Like you say, you want to poke your nose in by matters that not concern you, right? So that is the one which is um, criticized. But where you certain somebody's right is being trampled upon, and you go ahead and then you speak in favor of the person whose right is being usurped, etc. Whether it's on a macro level or micro level, I tell you, even your own on a micro level in the madrasa, anywhere, whatever, right? So there to set the record straight and to establish the right of somebody, that is something laudable, right? Then the others pretty simple. Yakhunu wala yu'tamanun. People will, they will deceive, they will not be trust, they will warn, but they themselves, Allah Ta'ala protect us, they won't fulfill. And then the last part here, I told you, وَيَظْهَرُ فِيهِمُ السَّمَنُ. What you got in your kitab, samanu? Yusuf? What you got? A simanu. We also got simanu. Okay, let me change, just check it. I got samanu here, but since you both got simanu, if anybody else got anything on online in the kitab, they can let us know also why they got samanu or simanu. So here, Simano. Okay, I'll change my one also to Simon. Yeah, got Simano. Got a pen? Anybody got a pen? Oh yeah, I got a pen. Check what is there on that kitab there in that one. Okay, Jazakallah got nothing there. So literally what it means is obesity. So here, although the word obesity is mentioned, or in simple words, we say like fatness or obesity. What is meant here is to be lazy, to be accustomed to luxury. Like some people have to eat their 3 square meals a day. If they don't get their 3 square meals a day, etc. And normally in Arabic, obesity is associated with stupidity. In Arabic, amongst the Arabs, obesity and stupidity goes hand in hand, right? That's why you remember there's a hadith. It says like this. It goes something like this. يأتي على الناس زمان يجلس يجلس الأريكة ويقول القرآن يكفينا or something like أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام, that an obese fat person will sit on a reclining couch and he will say, no, the Quran is sufficient for us. We don't need the Sunnah, etc., etc. Remember? So I was telling you what it means here. There's another hadith where the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, إياكم والتنعم. Iya means to be careful. It's asma al-afal. It's the ism that comes in the meaning of affair. Then be careful of being overtaken to too much luxury. فَإِنَّ عِبَادَ اللَّهِ لَيْسُوا بِالْمُتَنَعِمِينَ. That true servants of Allah Ta'ala, they are not those people who are heavily taken into luxury and opulence. So if you fit it into the context here of the hadith, what the hadith is saying is that people will become eventually with a degeneration, people will become so much taken to luxuries, etc. They won't, as I said, obesity comes in the meaning of opulence, luxury, that they won't be able to make any type of sacrifice for deen. They will not be able to make any type of sacrifice for deen. If you can't, if you so you accustomed to your luxuries, how will you go out to study deen? How will you go to the madrasa? How will you go in jihad? How will you go for da'wah to go spread deen? How will you go for tabligh, etc., etc.? There's mentioned that once Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned to a Yahudi scholar, "Inna Allah yubghidu al-hibra samina." He detests what a obese scholar, that a person that can't make any sacrifice for deen. All right. So the essence of that is that with the passage of time, there will be a general degeneration. Yes, there will always be those people that will be on haq, etc. But generally, there will be a degeneration amongst the people. Obviously, the best epoch and era is that which is closest to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Loud? Yes, okay, correct. So because I told you in Arabic, if you look at the Arab culture, the three things go together: obesity, baladat, stupidity, laziness. So when your body becomes lazy, maybe your mind also become lazy and it will become stupid also. Right? Okay, read the next one. What you got there? Tell me what you got. Allah. That makes sense. Mine's on and they're just struggling a bit with it. Allah man sarrahu buhbubatul jannah. Buhbubatul jannah. You got buhbubatul jannah? What? Buhbuhatu. Yeah. Buhbuhatu. Right. Just check here on what's on our kitab. Also buhbuhatu.
وهو من الاثنين أبعد ولا يكلف ولا يخون رجل فإن الشيطان من صرف حسنته وساءت سيئته وهو مثل من بواقع
رواه النسائي. أوكي، رواه النسائي وإسناد صحيح ورجاله رجال الصحيح إلا إبراهيم بن الحسن الخثأمية فإنه لم يخرج عنه الشيخين وهو ثقة ثبت. Right? You got that in your kitab, that's what I read now. Okay, I'll explain it to you. Okay, a very beautiful hadith here, quite a few lessons. First thing, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وأن عمر narrating authority as Umar قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم Rasul said أكرموا أصحابي, that you must show respect and you must show honor to my companions, right? That we discuss this in detail, that we love them because they are the ones that assisted Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the very beginning. They, when nobody was there, they were ready to carry the message, etc. They were the companions. They are the ones who gave us the Quran, etc. فَإِنَّهُمْ خِيَارُكُمْ, they are the best of you. Right? That's our belief. And like I told you before, this is one of the sign, one of the alamat of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Who are we? Who are we? We are not Shia. We are not Qadiani. We are not Qur'ani. We are Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. What we are? What are Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah? Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah are those people who practice on the Quran, right, as shown by Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and is conveyed to us by his close companions. There's people Ahlul Sunnah, people of the Sunnah of Rasulullah wal Jama'ah, and those who hold the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in high regard, in high esteem. I told you the Quraniyin, they don't hold the Sahaba Ikram in high regard. They say, no, we got the Quran, we go directly to the Quran. So this here, hadith here, it is the hallmark of the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. We believe, right? فَإِنَّهُمْ خَيْرُكُمْ, they are the best of you people, the best of the Ummah, right? Then after them, ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ, then those who came afterwards, ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ, then those who came after them, ثُمَّ يَظْهَرُ, you got al-kadhibu, I got al-kizbu. Okay, maybe there's two ways you can read this. So this hadith is not telling us anything new. It is telling us the same thing what the other hadith says. That slowly as you move away from the golden era of Nabi Sallallahu, generally, there will be a degeneration in morals. Yes, there will always be individuals. There will always be ulama of haqq, right? On a micro level. So, but on a macro level, generally, right, there will be a degeneration. حتى أن رجل, to such an extent, a person لا يحلف, you want to give an oath, etc. ولا يستحلف, but he is not called. We discussed this in detail here, right? It one is when you want to support an innocent person, there's a reward for that. Somebody is being accused of doing something wrong, etc., and you know for a fact this person is not guilty. Similar, ويشهد ويشهد ولا يستشهد, right? You want to give witnesses, but he's not been called to witness, right? Right. Then the next one, Allah, Allah man sarrahu buhbubatul jannah. That's what you got. So that person who sarrahu buhbubatul jannah, that the middle of Jannah pleases him. That's a literal translation. What? Buhbuba. Buhbuhatu. Sorry. Yeah, buhbuhatu. Maaf. That's also in my kitab. I'm reading it wrong. Buhbuhat. Jazakallah for it. Allah man sarrahu buhatul jannah, that person who the middle of Jannah pleases him. What does it mean, the middle of Jannah pleases him? Yusuf, what does it mean? The middle of Jannah, beach or beach. In Urdu say beach or beach. Or you can say in Arabic, wasatul Jannah. What does it mean? Luqman, what does it mean that the middle of Jannah pleases him? Online, tell us, anybody online, what does it mean? You say that person who the middle of Jannah pleases him. What would it mean? If anybody online know what this means, you can tell us. The main part of Jannah pleases him. What does it mean? that person who wants the middle of Jannat, that person, like, isn't there the hadith also that, okay, you got something coming in here, let's see. Okay, middle path here, what, isn't there the hadith, they say like this here, that person who, even though he's in the right, listen, even though he's in the right, but for the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala, he leaves out argumentation. He said, I'm right here, but I'm not going to argue. For Allah Ta'ala's pleasure, for Allah Ta'ala's sake, I'll just leave it out. Isn't the hadith like that? So something similar, yeah. That person who the middle of Jannat pleases him. That is, he wants the middle of Jannat, right? That person who wants the middle of Jannat, right? Then فَلْيَلْزَمِ الْجَمَاعَةَ. He should remain firm to the jama'at of the ulama haq, right? فَإِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ مَعَ الْفَزِّ. Because shaitan, it preys upon the lone person. Isn't that also, there's also hadith or something goes like this, so the effect that that the wolf preys on the lone sheep. As long as the sheep is under the watchful eye of the shepherd and he remains with the flock, then if a wolf comes, what will happen? The shepherd will throw a stone, he'll drive the wolf. But the moment the sheep strays from what? He strays from the pack, that is when he becomes susceptible to the wolf. So same thing. فَإِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ مَعَ الْفَزِّ. Shaitan is with the lone person, right? وَهُوَ مِنَ الْإِثْنَيْنِ أَبْعَدَ. So shaitan is from two people more distant. In other words, right? So even being in, that is why there's also hadith that say, isn't it, that you, when you travel, you shouldn't travel alone. Because when you're alone, what happens? You think you can do something, you can get away with it. Nobody will be with you. Somebody, now if somebody's with you, that this person will see what I'm doing, etc. So huwa min al-ithnaini ab'ad. Yani shaitan is more distant from two people, because a Muslim will guide another Muslim that don't do this. I don't think we should be doing this here, etc., etc. This is wrong. Then ولا يخلون رجلا لخلنا بامرأة. Then a man should never be alone with a woman. So yeah, there is in this book we done once. It's called, what's the name of the, yeah, I done with Bilal. What's the name of it? Allama Shami's son. They got some nice rules there. Maybe I'm gonna do it with you, about a strange man and a strange woman being together alone in one place, right? Because why? When they are alone, if they are both young, etc., then it is a cause of fitna, right? So there is certain masail here also. Right? فَإِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ ثَالِثُهُمَا. The shaitan will be the third person. The shaitan will infuse thoughts into their mind, etc., etc. So there are certain laws with regard to this also. Uh, uh, like if there's a partition between them two, etc., etc. Sometimes maybe you got a person working and he's got a female secretary, all that type of things. They shouldn't be in the same place alone, all that type of thing, right? As I said, if they are both young, etc., then it's a cause of fitna. فإن الشيطان ثالثهم. Then the next part, ومن سرته حسنته وساءته سيئته فهو مؤمن. That person who his good deeds pleases him and his bad deeds sa'athum, it displeases him, فَهُوَ مُؤْمِنٌ. Then he is a believer. So the fact that if you done something wrong, right, it displeases you, that's a sign of iman. That is why isn't there is also hadith that say, istafti qalbak walau aftaka nasu. That when you're in doubt, ask your heart. Walau aftaka nasu, even if the muftis or whoever give you a fatwa, but your heart says, no, I'm not pleased with this. I have some reservation with regard to this thing here. But your heart say no, right? And there was another hadith, ma haqa fi sadriq, that which agitates the heart, right? So the fact that your heart is displeased with something, you're not happy with something, this is the sign of iman, right? So okay, so that is the hadith. The relevance of the hadith was the first part, to say that you have to honor the Sahaba Ikram. Then yeah, the takhrij is quite interesting. Some explanation. See, Remember, the first Lusani is what? Just to bring us back in perspective, the first Lusani of Mishkaat are the riwayat, the original author, right? The original author of Masabih. He put in all the riwayat of the Sunan. Remember, in the first fasal, he put the Sahihain riwayat, that is of Bukhari and Muslim, right? And in the second fasal, he put the riwayat of the Sunan, that is like Abu Dawud Shareef, Nasai Shareef, Ibn Majah, Tirmidhi, etc. Right? Right. Now, having understood that, and remember the third fasal is what Sahib Mishkat added, what he felt the previous author left out. So it could be from any of the riwayat. The third fasal could be from Sahihain or it could be from the Sunan, right? Now, once you understand it, now let's look at the takhrij. Rawahu Nasa'iyu. This riwayat it is here, which is an Umara, Imam Nasa'i narrates it, which is from the Sunan, which is 100% right. But he's saying here, وَإِسْنَادُهُ صَحِيحٌ. But if you look at this narration, although it appears in Nasa'i Sharif, which is the Sunan, which is the second tier, right? Because the Sunan comes after the Sahihain, right? You with me, right? Second tier. But وَإِسْنَادُهُ صَحِيحٌ. Its sanad is good. Actually, what he's saying that this sanad, this hadith could have appeared in the Sahihain, although it never appeared, right? Saying what is nadu sahihun. He say wa rijaluhu rijalus sahih. If you look at this narration here, all the narrators, they are those that have been approved by Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim, right? Right. All of them, except illa Ibrahim ibn al-Hasan al-Khasamiyya. Also, besides Ibrahim ibn Hasan al-Qasami, all the other narrations make all the other narrators, they make the grade to have appeared in this one, right? Illa Ibrahim al-Hasan al-Qasami, right? Right? فإنه لم يخرج عنه الشيخان. Shaykhan here, in this context, referred to who? Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim. If we look nicely, we'll see that Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim, they don't have any of these riwayats. In other words, any narration where he was narrating, where his name is, they didn't. They didn't put his name in there, right? They didn't take his narrations. فإنهم لم يخلفوا الشيخان, right? وهو ثقة ثبت. And this, you people know, you done this here in Usul Hadith. These are terms also. وهو ثقة ثبت. Whilst he is a reliable narrator, he is a good and he is a reliable narrator, but they didn't narrate from him, right? So that the hadith is pretty simple. There's only one word with faz. Faz means to be alone. And from this hadith and from any other hadith, etc., we learn that shaitan normally preys upon the lone person, that person who separates himself from the jamaat of the Ahlul Haq, that person who moves away from the ulama haq. Then this word here, buhbuhatu, which means, I told you, the middle of Jannat. So what it means normally, so the middle of Jannat refer to the best part of Jannat. So, the middle of Jannat refer to the best. So if you want the best of the Jannat, the middle of Jannat, like the right, if I tell him, that. So, but you see, for the pleasure of Allah, I will firm to the ulama haq, the ulama that practice according to the traditional understanding of the Quran, the ulama that practice upon the traditional understanding of the hadith. They don't come with new meanings, new interpolated, muharraf meanings. Okay, how do we read يحلفون? يحلفون حلف يحلفون, to take an oath. So also here, both a person wants to وإن الرجل لا يحلف ولا يستحلف. He wants to go and give an oath out of his own while he's not been called. What you said? Oh, khalwa. Oh yeah. Sorry, maaf. Right. ولا يخلون رجل بامرأة. خلا يخلو means to be alone. So literally, what this means: a man, a strange man, a na mahram. What we say in Urdu, we say na mahram. A ghair mahram man shouldn't be with a ghair mahram woman. That means a woman that you can get married to, especially if they are young age, right? A young man and a young woman shouldn't be working alone together in a one office, or any other, or anything. Maybe like if a woman is going now to the doctor, there's no other doctor, and she's going to visit a male doctor, etc. Sometimes there's no female doctor. Then she should have what? She should have a mahram with her, right? So there could be many scenarios for this. The details of this are found in the kitab. So when a young man and a young woman are alone together, then shaitan is the third person that is there. All right. Okay, let's stop there, inshallah. Let's switch over to the sirah, inshallah. Which one is this? This one here that we don't. No, it's a good hadith, definitely, because it comes in Nasai Shareef, and there they say all the ruwat are sahih, etc. I mean, they are thiqa in it. Yeah, but at the end they say, هو ثقة ثبت. He is authentic